Interest in and financing for the blockchain, the ledger that provides an electronic record for Bitcoin transactions, abounds. Financial industry veterans are investing in startups, and comparisons are being made to the internet itself.
All the talk earlier this evening of the need for more financial regulation will only serve to remind people that banking can easily go wrong, bluntly because there's little trust in the industry, something that can be easy to exploit. So imagine a system of transacting money that was actually fraud-proof. It exists. It's called blockchain.
Camera rolling. Sound rolling.
Scene 8.
Scene 8. Take 1. Action.
Welcome back to the show. If you think of Airbnb and Lyft as social media companies because of the peer-to-peer nature, then peer-to-peer technologies of all sorts could be a potential next wave in tech. That includes, of course, the blockchain.
There are 3 main aims that will be answered in the short video on blockchain. Firstly, to have in-depth understanding of the blockchain technology. Secondly, to critically examine how IBM uses blockchain both internally and externally, and how it has created a competitive advantage. And thirdly, discover any management issues IBM struggled with and improvements they can make to further develop the technology. Analysis is based on a telephone interview with John Palfman, director of IBM Blockchain Europe's CTO team, and various frameworks studied in class. Blockchain is a distributed database that maintains a continuously growing list of records, called blocks, secured with tampering and revision. Each block contains a timestamp and a link to a previous block. The concept was theorized by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 and applied the year after, when the Bitcoin network was opened up. The 3 main advantages of blockchain in comparison with competing transaction systems are: the first one is the reduced transaction time, the second one is the elimination of the third-party system, and the final one, the reduced transaction fee. There are 4 special features of blockchain technology. Firstly, there is a public ledger, which is a filing system that records all transactions inside the network. Blockchain allows everyone to access the ledger, and everyone has an individual copy.
Now we are going to have a quick analysis on SWOT of blockchain. Firstly, we're going to look at the strengths. Number 1 is anonymity. The transactions within a blockchain are a code made up of letters and numbers, and therefore, for the status of a blockchainer is unknown. This allows users to protect their identity from third parties whilst conducting transfer operations. Secondly, it reduces the transaction time. Blockchain's current competitive advantage is the speed at which a transaction can be made. Currently, it takes third-party systems 3 to 5 working days. However, blockchain is an almost instantaneous transaction. Thirdly, it allows transfer of almost any digital information. The blockchain is not limited to 1 or 2 industries. It can be used in financial services, manufacturing services, retail services, the list goes on. Fourthly, we have cost reduction. The fee of currently moving something from A to B has a fee of around 1 or 2%. With blockchain, there is a cheaper fee, making it even more desirable for customers. Number 5 is that it prevents wastage. Our example in our essay is the NHS case. 6th, we have decentralized system. The blockchain system does not use a third-party system. Cutting out the middleman, as previously mentioned, both reduces transaction time and cost. And lastly, we have the difficulty to hack. For someone to hack into the blockchain system, they would have to simultaneously hack into every single computer in the network at the same time. This suggests that the technology should be secure.
We have identified 4 weaknesses. The first one is abusing the system, anonymity. Despite the opportunity for users to protect their identity, this mechanism can be used for shady operations, such as narco-trafficking. We can think about the Silk Road website, gun trade, nuclear bombing, extremist propaganda, corruption, etc. Number 2 is high maintenance costs. Although it's cheaper for customers, there are high maintenance costs that must be considered before implementing. Number 3 is security speculations. The media has suggested there are some questions on how secure the technology is. The speculation and negative press may have a damaging effect on potential consumers avoiding the technology. And the final one, possible privatization. This currently seems unlikely, however, we must be aware of the possibility of the technology being privatized.
Now let's look at the opportunities. There are 2 main opportunities that blockchain has. Firstly, the opportunity to expand into different sectors. The technology is most advanced in the financial sector. However, many industries have the opportunities to utilize blockchain. Specifically to IBM, they can look to implement it in other functional areas of the company, which we believe they are currently developing. And secondly, to wipe out banks. The blockchain technology has been compared to the invention of the internet, the next life-changing technology for humanity. Blockchain has the potential to extinct banks altogether.
I would like to talk about our final part of our SWOT analysis, which is threats. We have identified 3 threats. Number 1 is potential to collapse. As we have seen in class, technology doesn't always work accordingly. But as humans, we often over-rely on technology and we over-rely on blockchain. And it may lead to huge problems and the whole system could collapse. Number 2 is hacking. Although it's very unlikely, the possibility of hacking must be taken into consideration. And the final one, uncertainty from customers. There are still a lot of unknowns about the technology and it's often difficult to initially fully understand how technology works. IBM must educate customers as well as they can so that everyone understands how it works.
As a company with big investments into research and development, IBM decided to explore blockchain and apply it to their operations. After trying to fit the technology into their business-to-business operations, IBM successfully connected blockchain to the Linux Foundation project. Now, IBM is able to take full advantage of both internal and external benefits that blockchain brings to the company. However, the timing of implementing blockchain into new areas of IBM is crucial. Once the technology is fully implemented, the cost of transactions are significantly reduced. However, the cost of implementing the whole system into IBM initially is very expensive and time-consuming. Hence, inadequate research and poor timing can increase the maintenance costs. The blockchain technology has the potential to revolutionize the way that we trade assets between one another. A recent Wall Street Journal article was titled, "How Blockchain Will Change Your Life." I suppose only time will tell whether this statement becomes reality.
An international company like IBM is dealing with thousands of suppliers and partners and millions of transactions each year. The vast number of interactions means that disputes between IBM and its partners is inevitable. Therefore, IBM believes that blockchain is a technology that will help to solve those disputes much quicker and much more efficiently. In case of IBM Global Financing, at any given time, $100 million is tied up. And therefore, blockchain will, by saving the time of resolving the disputes, make the working capital work much more productively. By this approach, the company can successfully implement the technology whilst allowing productivity and efficiency not to be affected. This gives time to the IBM employees to become comfortable with the technology and get used to the change. This time is also needed for the software engineers. They will use this time to experience any issues and fix them before the old system is fully substituted. This reduces the risks of failure and allows periods for the technology to reach maturity. From Porter's value chain, we can say that blockchain provides a competitive advantage for IBM. It adds value to IBM's primary activities, especially to its inbound and outbound logistics. In the case of inbound logistics, The increased value is delivered by the fact that blockchain allows IBM to have bigger trust in their suppliers and therefore creates better and more efficient relationships with its business partners. The same applies for the outbound logistics, from the view of the buyer having bigger trust in IBM. Blockchain also helps with collecting and storing IBM's products so as to keep track of all the goods within the company. Within the secondary activities, it is mainly infrastructure which is influenced by blockchain. As infrastructure consists of departments such as accounting or finance, blockchain can help in this area too. It provides the company with easier auditability and makes the working capital work more efficiently. IBM is the only company this far that provides blockchain to its customers, as well as using it internally. This is surely IBM's ultimate competitive advantage.
At the first glimpse, people may wonder why not use the blockchain. However, after some comprehensive research, there are some noticeable limitations, or in other words, challenges of implementation at the moment. One of the main points that Palfreman mentioned was the difficulty of implementing and spreading the knowledge of blockchain within the IBM. This is also known as awareness problem. During the process of technology implementation, a company needs to consider both cultural and organizational structures. Moreover, a user company needs to establish an appropriate strategy to present it properly within the organization so that it's mutually adapted and brings the full working system. Nevertheless, it's always hard to introduce some fresh technology into operation straight away. Blockchain is still a young technology which is not still fully understood, and thus it needs time to be fully implemented. Awareness problem is not only the case in IBM. One of the main and biggest accounting firms in the world, Deloitte, also faces the same problem of awareness. Deloitte says that implementation of blockchain at the moment is hard because people do not fully understand the capacity of blockchain's value that it can bring to the firm. So, in order to implement blockchain, a complete conversion to decentralized networks needs to be done. It actually involves a process of buy-in of both users and operators. So the complexity of implementation of blockchain may be heightened if the technology is not fully understood within the firm, and thus it can lead to serious problems. IBM faces other concerns regarding blockchain hype from its employees and users. Blockchain has been developed and overhyped by social media and news reports, convincing people of some invincible transfer network system. This has led to false user expectations of how quickly and effectively blockchain can work. In other words, this so-called hype around blockchain has created an overinflated view and expectations of how well developed the technology is at the moment. Presently, blockchain is still a very immature technology. Organizations such as IBM are in the process of adoption and exploration of its full boundaries. The main thing that people do not understand is how much time goes into development of such technology as blockchain. The process can take up to years and decades to become fully familiar with the technology. It is impossible to bring it to life at the moment, even in the sandbox environment. From the perspective of technology lifecycle, blockchain is still somewhere between the evolving and emerging stages. The main problem that Mr. Palfreman mentioned is that people tend to focus on near-term utilization targets, and so that they forget about the long-term goals. During the process of technology implementation, timing is a very crucial aspect. Companies and users need to fully understand capabilities of the technology and increase their knowledge and skills before actually using it. However, Mr. Palfreman revealed the biggest problem at the moment is convincing people that it is better to be patient and wait, and then the result will come itself. In summary, all the main problems IBM is facing with the blockchain is awareness problem, overinflated customer views, and aggressive growth targets. Awareness problem can be also the case in different industries with different technologies. As Mr. Palfreman mentioned, IBM is actually introducing their users and customers with the workshops in order to get a better image of what blockchain is and how it should be implemented. However, in order to solve the problem of awareness, IBM firstly needs to introduce their workers with the workshops so that workers internally understand what the blockchain is, and then this knowledge can be expanded externally. After this knowledge is expanded externally, the next point is that the problem of overinflated views can be solved, so that people besides employees, basically customers, media, will get a better image of what blockchain is. And lastly, aggressive growth targets of IBM is also the problem, and it can be solved by starting applying blockchain to smaller scale projects. Firstly, testing it on the smaller scale will provide IBM with better knowledge and better skills of using and implementation of blockchain. So in other words, this technology can be tested on the smaller scale project and then can be successfully applied to the bigger scale projects.
Overall, blockchain was of great interest to research as it is a relatively new and upcoming technology. Blockchain is attractive as it reduces the time between sending and receiving the transaction. It reduces the cost of the transaction and increases trust through the public ledger. The blockchain does not only increase transaction efficiency in banking and finance sectors, but its potential to exploit other industries is boundless. Blockchain has the capability to capture different operations, such as tackling corruption, assisting cryptocurrency wallets, and improving healthcare services. As mentioned, there are some limitations to blockchain, including anonymity, high maintenance costs, and the sheer complexity of the technology. After thorough analysis, however, the disadvantages are outweighed by a great number of advantages and opportunities.